With the Chicago Bears owning the #1 overall pick, there is that chance that they will take quarterback Caleb Williams from USC if they choose to move on from Justin Fields. Or Ryan Poles could trade back and get a haul that includes a first round this year and next year, maybe even the following year, along with some seconds and thirds and even a young veteran. And in either of those situations, Marvin Harrison Jr. will 99% likely not be on the board anymore. But not to worry. There is a ton of other guys that the Chicago Bears can address for wide receiver 2 to pair with DJ Moore for whoever Chicago Bears quarterback 1 in 2024 will be. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Today, I'm going to go over the Chicago Bears backup plan if they don't get a chance to take Marvin Harrison Jr. And don't be upset because there are 4 other true options that fill in that need at wide receiver 2 for the Chicago Bears and are super impactful and would be great for whoever quarterback 1 is next year. As we begin today's show, we'd like to thank Freshly Organic Tequila Seltzer for being our sponsor. And if you're excited about the upcoming offseason for the Chicago Bears, make sure to smash that like button on this video. If you want them to address wide receiver 2 early in this upcoming draft, throw your thoughts in the comment section below about who you want the Bears to take if they don't get Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'm giving away an autographed DJ Moore mini helmet. All you need to do is make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and put Bear down in the comment section below. So the 4 guys that I think are strong options for Chicago: Malik Nabers from LSU, Odunze from Washington, Keon Coleman from FSU, and Brian Thomas from LSU. Could you imagine if the Bears got Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas Jr. both from LSU? Like, that pairing would be awesome in the NFL. But anyway, all 4 are likely to go top 20 in this upcoming draft according to experts, so it'll either be a trade back situation that we get one of them, or we use the #9 overall pick that Chicago currently owns. First guy I'm going to talk about today is Malik Nabers. The 6', 200-pound wide receiver runs a 4.440 time and is arguably the second best wide receiver in this upcoming draft. Great hands, speed, and vision. He is great at breaking away from defenders, and his stats show for that. This past season with the Tigers, he had 86 receptions for over 1,500 yards, an average of 18 yards per catch, and 14 receiving touchdowns. That's pretty insane. He gets the comparison a lot of Deebo Samuel or even DJ Moore himself, which could be a good and a bad thing for Chicago. The good is that those guys are 2 elite receivers in this league. The bad news is that he doesn't fill in that need at big-bodied wide receiver for Chicago. And if Chicago is confident that they don't need that 6'2+ type wide receiver, or even they're going to plan on getting one later in the draft, then I'm fine getting Malik Nabers because he'd be a great pairing with DJ Moore. Great asset for quarterback 1, whoever that may be. He's reliable, doesn't have a lot of drops, can break away from defenders, and is one fast guy. But one guy that does fill in that need for a big-bodied wide receiver for the Chicago Bears is Odunze from Washington. The big-bodied wide receiver stands at 6 foot, weighs 215 pounds, and runs a 4.3740 time. Like Nabers, has great hands, great speed, but he has that great size and agility along with being very reliable. This past season for Washington, he had his breakout year with 81 receptions for nearly 1,500 receiving yards, averaged 17.6 yards per catch in 13 receiving touchdowns, along with 2 rushing touchdowns. So he fills in that big-bodied wide receiver need that the Chicago Bears have, but also he has glue for hands. I mean, this guy doesn't drop anything. He's so clean at running routes. He's able to make spectacular catches, has great vision at the football, and is much bigger than other defenders and able to win 50-50 balls all the time. I really like Rome a lot. I think he'd be awesome on the Chicago Bears roster and fills in that wide receiver 2 need that Chicago needs. But an even bigger guy that the Chicago Bears could go after and might not have to, take in the first round, could potentially get an early second rounder taken, is Keon Coleman. Now, Coleman is ranked between 15 and 35 across all the experts I've looked at. So either a mid-first or an early second. And I can see why. The 6'4", 215-pound wide receiver is an absolute baller and runs a 4.4540 time. A big dude who's that fast, who can jump and catch anything, is dangerous to have on your roster. He wins contested catches all the time. He blocks downfield really well all the time. crazy acceleration and agility as well, has gone against some of the nation's top defensive talent and made their lives pretty difficult. He's also explosive after the catch. 50 receptions for 658 yards this past season and 11 touchdowns. Mainly a red zone target, but when he was used deep downfield, he got the job done. So another big-bodied wide receiver for the offense to have next year, along with explosive after the catches, which causes opponents to game plan even more and spread out the offense. And then on top of it, a wide receiver room of him and DJ Moore would be pretty insane. And finally, a guy who I haven't talked about, but the more I've learned about him, I'm going to do a deeper breakdown video on him later this week, so stay tuned for that. But I really like Brian Thomas from LSU. So a projected mid-first round pick because of Malik Nabers. If Malik Nabers wasn't on LSU, I think he'd be a top 10 pick because this guy is just pure athlete. 6'4", 205 pounds, runs a 4.47 40 time, nearly as fast as Nabers, but he's 4 inches taller and he is one hell of an athlete. Big wide receiver, again, who wins contested catches consistently, but also runs routes like a small, speedy slot receiver at the outside receiver position, making it very difficult for people to keep up with him and causing double coverage. Explosive after the catch with 68 receptions for nearly 1,200 yards and 17 receiving touchdowns last year for LSU. Another big-bodied wide receiver that fields can throw to, explosive after the catch, and also just overall a big problem for opponents. These 4 guys are all great options. All do the same thing as Marvin Harrison Jr., but I'm going to be frank with you guys. With that number 1 pick, we can get an absolute haul. And I honestly think that Brian Thomas is going to fall to number 9. I would not mind Chicago getting him. He has jumped up the scale on different draft boards. He has really proven talent. I'm excited to see what he does at the combine because honestly, he could be a top 3 wide receiver after the combine. Put your thoughts in the comment section below who you want the Bears to take. Also, make sure you like this video and subscribe in order to apply for the DJ Moore autograph mini helmet. And thank you always for your guys' support. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rhodey, and as always, bear down, baby.